think we're going to be live. Wait, are we on now? We on now? Okay, I think we are on live right now. As usual, we're so professional here on everything, Yowie. Firstly, I'd like to introduce Dave again. He's the number one Yowie researcher in Canberra, and I think he's getting his Santa Claus bid ready for the festive season. So, anyway, the Grandmaster Thong, you are going to take over this episode and talk about a few things, and then I'll come in at the end and dribble, and then we'll end the live broadcast. So I'll leave it with you, Dave, to have have a chat, and it's all yours.
Oh, thank you very much, Dan, or Grand Thong Master, if I could call you that.
No, you're Thong Master. Yeah, I bow to you. You taught me everything you know.
I'm actually going out tomorrow to have lunch at Molonglo Gorge. Vlad and I are meeting up. We're going to cook some kranskis on a fire and discuss what our plans are for spring. Tomorrow's the first day of spring.
Okay.
And so the weather's, where I am, it gets very cold. And the weather's warming up, which means I'll be able to get out for a lot more overnighters. So that's the plan, especially with apparently the rains we've been having the last 12 or 24 months are going to dissipate over the next short while.
Okay.
But it did remind me that the fact that what the purpose why I wanted to talk tonight was how one of the things that sort of led me onto the belief that leaning on the side of the Yowies were real things, and it was actually through the great work of the National Library, and this is what I want to promote tonight, is the Trove search engine, and how important it is to research, because I found all my local areas where I've since found is activity still today from reports of over 100 years ago. And I think the thing is that people say, "Oh, Trove search engine," but there's a knack to doing it. I've found. I remember finding one report because I typed in Australian gorilla and Pierce's Creek, which is a local creek near here, and up popped an article by George Graham Webb, who was interviewed in the 1890s or something, and his encounter at Pierce's Creek, where he actually fired a pistol at it, or his brother fired a pistol at it on dawn. They described it as looked like somebody with a blanket over the top of them, but it was in no light, so they only saw it just on dawn, and it took off when they fired a round at it. And that led on to, just at the bottom of that article was sort of like an attachment or an addendum, and it was a very small newspaper clipping that said, and in reference to, this is paraphrasing, but in reference to the animal that such and such saw killed on the junction of the Yass and Murrumbidgee rivers, he saw the group of blacks. I'll use the term blacks because that's the term that was used in the article, but Aboriginals, men with torches heading up a hill, chasing this animal up to the top where they killed it with their nulla nullas. and then they dragged it down by its legs. It looked to me to be um, uh, um, a large man, but covered in grey hair.
Okay.
Yeah, so he'd still described it as an animal. But the reason I found that led to that on Trove, and I'm sure in the couple of 100 years that they've been, they're now digitising all of these newspapers, and they're still digitising them to today.
Mm.
So even people who searched a couple of years ago, if they searched again today, might find more available. I know Jamie, I think his name is, that runs the YouTube channel Where's My Yowie.
Yeah.
He does a great job at presenting these old clippings that come from the Trove search engine. But the trick is to use, you don't type in Yowie. Yowie is a very modern term. But things like Australian gorilla and hairy man, and although you sift through a lot of advertisements for hair products for men in the turn of the century, but and in combination, and you can narrow the searches down. It's got a great refining system on the search, so you can put it down to what decade, what newspaper, all these different criterias you can log in if you spend some time to find those little gems that will help with anybody's research in their local area. Because most of these newspapers are from little country areas that are now defunct. They're not. They don't exist anymore. Yeah. So, but anyway, that was what I wanted to put out tonight. That if anybody, and it's great research. They talk about people being armchair researchers, but if you know the history of sightings in your local area, it opens up whole avenues of what you can do today with boots on the ground.
Thongs on the ground.
Hey?
Thongs on the ground. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, thongs on the ground. But anyway, I found it really helpful. I used to put them up on a blog I wrote from about 2010 on occasionally, but other people do a much better job of it. I mean, like I said, anybody wants to really get into a catalogue of these reporting, they can go to Jamie's YouTube channel, Where's My Yowie, it's called. So, yeah, and he tosses in a couple of bunyips and things like that.
Well, don't go to the Chaser's channel, because he uses 1850 reports as latest sightings. So
yeah, no, I did laugh about that. But
you can have a red alert latest sighting and it's 1850, and then I think Jamie was the one that picked him up and said, "Hey, this is from 1850," and posted it. So once you're busted doing crap like that, mate, how many times has he done it previously, and hasn't been busted. Plus he's always following the AYR guys, and he doesn't do anything himself. He just walks around and dribbles. So unfortunately, Trove, the pieces in Trove can be used for the evil, and he used them for evil. So anyone that does anything stupid, I'll be sure to pick them out and talk about them on here. And I got another nice little bit of information from the
gossip.
Yeah, a bit of gossip. Yeah, so this guy that calls himself Stets, and he runs the North Korean regime of Yowie Busters. Old Stets, old mate, I heard and found out by a little birdie that his name's Noel. So if you want to call him Don't call him Stats. His name's Noel. So there's a little bit of little juicy bit of information there. So I don't know why he's hiding his name, but he's not Stats. He's Noel. So anyway, there's a little bit there.
You're allowed to have a nickname, Dan.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you can. But anyway, I thought that's a good bit of information to get out there, and good to see our third member finally join.
This is the new Yowie dog.
It's called Slapper the dog. Yowie dog.
No, he's a cross between a Great Dane and a German Shepherd.
Oh, jeez.
So it'll be an interesting mix.
So he's no Jack Russell, is he?
He's no Jack Russell. No. He's 30 kilos now and he's 5 months old, and they grow till they're 18 months. So
we
yeah. I've always had big dogs, so
we got someone talking about come up to the Pilliga Forest. Well, I've been up to the Pilliga twice, and the second time that we were up there, it was while we were filming the documentary track, hoping to put part of it in there, which I did think some of the scenes that we filmed with the drone did make it in Tracking the Law, the second documentary, but the first time we went up there, we actually recorded some what we thought were wild dogs, but when you listen to the recordings, some of them just don't sound like dogs. Like, sounds like something's trying to make a dog sound. So you get there and bark and go woof woof woof. It's a dog sound, but it's not coming from the creature like a dog. So we did see some eye shine. They were coming from both sides of us, and then Attila called it and said, look, we've got to get out of here, because we just had tents set up. We're supposed to sleep there overnight, and it was way off the road into this little an area where I think someone had beehives set up and took the beehives away and probably moved them somewhere else. And there was no one out there. It was way away off the highway by easily half an hour. So so there was plans on going back, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen now, because there's too many plans we got. I've got one to go into the Blue Mountains in about around the referendum time, so somewhere around there, which is about just before mid-October. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing there, and I'm just going to scout around and check out a good place to camp. So it'll be in a well-known spot, but I won't give out too many details. There's so far I think there's 4 of us going up there, so that'll be interesting, because I have had woodnocks come from this area while I've been camping up on the ridge. So we're going to be in a valley, but there's plenty of valleys in the Blue Mountains, but we'll be in a valley, and there's no trails in there, so we've got to bush bash it and find a good area. The only thing we've got to worry about is, it's being October, there'll be snakes out, so we just got to be very careful day and night, because I will be there for 2 nights. Some of the guys will only be there for 1 night. Pete McPhee, love what you do, especially whilst wearing thongs. Always hiking thongs. That's just special. Much love to you and family from Melbourne. Yeah, it'd be as long as you go for the swans, Pete. And hopefully the swans go right this year. And so we've been to Pilliga. From where we are, it's about 6.5 hours to get where we've got to go. So it's a long way to go for us. And then actually after the Pilliga, when we had that encounter, we ended up leaving, and then I went to visit my sister at Wingham. So we went up to Narrabri, my wife and I, and we actually found the Yowie in the Narrabri Hotel. So there was a big carved Yowie. So that was really interesting, and got a photo of that. And while I'm on the subject about YouTube and videos and stuff, I've been noticing, and anything that I see, I'll talk about it on here, that, when people always say about, how could I say it, is, we've got to start doing some like footage of your own YouTube channels, you know, you just can't get there and film trees and then put things saying, oh look, the big yowies in the trees, and then make videos and you're on a train and you're pointing out into the bush where there's buildings there and you're saying there's yowies in there. Like, people are never going to take anyone that's researching yowies or you know, interested in it going out in the bush seriously when you got idiots posting stuff on YouTube that's just absolutely ridiculous, and what they're stating is not the fact. It's just one guy's just filming trees. He should just become a biologist or something to do with trees. I don't know. And there's some other people out there that just continually just filming, what could I say, just shadows, pareidolia. And the bad thing about it is they're posting it in groups and then people are praising them. So the people that are praising them are probably bigger idiots than the people taking these videos of shadows, because you can take, like, I've been there and I've seen shadows or something that looks like it's something there and it's got that shape, and then when I've actually taken the time to walk up to it while it's happening, I find out it's like just a burnt tree stump, or you know, it's one of those little black ferns, and it just happens to have rocks around it, so it looks like a shape of a head and shoulders. So
it's a matter of keeping a grip on reality, Dan.
Exactly.
It's a matter of keeping a grip on reality. And I've thought about this before, and I think I've gone through it myself. You want to. It's not a matter of wanting to believe. It's you want to see evidence.
Yeah. You want to see. So if they're stating the fact, like people are saying, like one person messaged me or said something to me the other week. He said, "Oh, I've got this yowie breeding ground, blah blah blah. Well, show us evidence. Show us evidence of baby. Show us evidence of the mother, the father, the bedding, the hair, the footprints, the scat, whatever." They state all this stuff, and then nothing comes up. There was one lady, she posted on one of these groups saying, "I've got yowies in my area. I've got video footage and I've got photo footage." Well, the photo was just where there's a top layer of like darker kind of sand and a bottom layer underneath, which does happen in the Blue Mountains where I go, where there's two different types of soils. And when the rain comes in, it washes away the dirt on top. Well, the sand kind of, when you put water on it, it compacts. Because when I used to race greyhounds, they put a lot of water on it to compact the sand, so the dogs would be, you know, running on top of the sand, not digging in. So the sand compacts and stays there, where all the loose matter on top and a bit of in normal kind of topsoil dirt will just wash away. And sometimes it'll show you looks like there's a print, but it's not. It's just where the water is actually pooled and it's made that shape. And they come up and say, "Look at this footprint." Well, it's not a footprint, because if it was a footprint, it'd be sunken in, and you'd see more of a defined shape if it hasn't been rained out. So, and a lot of times they're going to these areas and seeing where people have been walking the previous day or two or three, and then it's rained, and it's a rained out footprint where everything goes smooth, and you'll see a little bit of maybe like a shoe print somewhere in part of it, and they're saying it's a yowie print because it's big. Well, if someone's wearing big boots and they got a size 10 or 12 foot, and I've got twin boys, they got size 13. They got huge feet. So you've got a boot on a size 12 or 13 foot. It's probably going to be 15 inches or something when it's, you know, when it goes into the dirt, when the people walk. And then this person's showing a video and there's nothing in it. And I'm like, you know, and then people are going, "Oh, great footage." I'm like, "Why is it great footage for? It's footage of nothing." You know, like it continually happens, and it's Facebook groups are really bad for this happening. And I think the admins should actually take a bit more time and maybe have it where instead of just allowing every post to go through, screen them for, you know, saying, "Look, this is a bit ridiculous. I'm not going to put this up because I don't think that this is, you know, what they're stating." Because when you go out, I've been doing this since 2005 and going out. Look, I made the mistake. I know that how you can easily make a mistake is when I first started and I took a few photos, which I thought was prints, but it was actually lyrebirds scratching, and they'll start at like the base of the roots and they'll come back. And sometimes when it gets rained on, and if it's under the canopy and won't get a lot of rain, it'll just get drops, and it'll make it that shape look like a foot, because they'll dig and then they'll stop and then they'll dig again. So you'll get like 2 holes, and it looks like it's where the toes are, then it goes in the middle of the foot, and then it comes down to the heel. And it's only lyrebirds scratching, and there's like lyrebirds all through the bush. And even brush turkeys will do this as well, but mainly the lyrebirds. So even I started off saying that these are footprints, but then after studying them and having a few people say, no, it's just a lyrebird scratching, I didn't get offensive and say to these people, no, it's a footprint, no. I took their advice on board, and I went, all right, I'm going to go out again. I'm going to go out earlier, because the lyrebirds get up at the crack of dawn and they're doing all their, pretty much their breakfast of eating worms and stuff in the morning. So I got out there and I was just studying how, watching the birds scratch, and when it had to take off, I go on and analyze the actual bird scratching. And then I went, shit, these guys are right. I've been taking photos, and all right, I'm going to have to be mindful of that. And so I took that on board instead of arguing, sitting there on Facebook going, arguing and doing nothing, and, not trying to further myself in what may be a real footprint and what's an animal scratching as well. So these people have got to do that. And when you go out more and more, like we've done over the years, Dave, and decades now, you get to see things and you look at it and straight away all right, that's what kind of animal it is. If it's a defined print, or if it's not, it's a bit rained out, you can still look at it and go, yeah, it's pretty much just a wombat, or a double step wombat that makes it look like a hand, or yeah, that's a roo, because you can see a bit of where it's its foot come down and then it's rested at the elbow at the back. So, but these people go out once in the blue moon and click, and then just stay, I got yowies here, and they hear all types of noises at night. They're not familiar with the noises. And then they start saying, well, when koalas scream, I didn't know they scream like they do, and it sounds like a 8-year-old girl getting murdered or something. And I'm like, never knew that they could scream like that until someone posted it on one of the YouTube or one of the Facebook groups like decades ago. I thought it wasn't Facebook, it was actually AYR, the AYR forum, and they were posting it saying this is what they've heard, because it come up as a report, I think around Lithgow or somewhere, where someone had heard screaming, and it's actually was they said it was a yowie, blah blah blah, but people have said no, it's not. We live in an area, and it's the koalas making all these noises. So. Oh,
exactly, mate. It's like I remember getting this wonderful recording up near Corran Dam, and it was out well away from the highway, not a highway, a road, and it was dead still. No one goes up there. It's a dead end road. It's got a dam at the end, and no one goes there, and not at night anyway, unless they're going to the lookout or whatever. But miles and miles and miles of scrub on both sides, and I set a recorder out there, perfectly still night. I think it was winter, and got these all of a sudden huge screaming, and I'd never heard anything like it in my life. And of course, my mind, because I was at that stage where I wanted to believe everything was a yowie, I actually sent the recording off to Gary Opert, who very kindly said back to me, yes, mate, it's a fox. And and a quick Google search actually confirmed it was a fox. But
they make all sorts of noises.
Blood curdling screams in all my life. But yeah, foxes do it.
Well, funny enough, I made a video years ago on my YouTube channel, and if you want to listen to any of these noises, I think it's just called animal noises of the bush, and it's got both like native, like kangaroos. I got as many noises as I could, and some of them were hard to track down. But even a platypus does a pretty loud growl. So you could be walking near a creek at night, and you got your parabolic out, and you hear this like guttural growl. It's a platypus. So these noises, like if you got someone that goes out there for the first time and they're walking around and they hear this growl, and they've got a parabolic and they're going, all right, I'm going to go out and research. They'll be going, look, I got a yowie growl, but it's just a platypus. And you got all the different types of deer. They're all introduced, of course, and they all got different noises, especially when they're breeding or they're not. So it's all different types of deer. They're making different noises, and then you've got your koalas, and you got your wombats making noise, and you got kangaroos as well. Like you've even got a bird. Yeah. You've got a bird up in Queensland that I think it makes a cat noise or something, because it's called cat bird. So you've got animals that make some weird noises, and then look, when noises go through the bush, when they travel through the bush, the trees can make the noises sound a lot different to what they were when the actual animal made it. I understand that, because a lot of people will hear, look, they'll even hear motorbikes. There's been a couple of people that, look, one guy's got his YouTube channel, I won't say his name, but he was saying he's got yowie screams, and I listened to it, and I've researched in that area. I know that there's a lot of motorbikes that go around that area, and I just went, no, that's a motorbike. And then about 4 or 5 people agreed with me. He said, yeah, that's a motorbike. I ride them every weekend, and that's a motorbike noise 100%. And then he backtracked and said, okay, it's a motorbike. But before you start announcing that's a yowie, you should be out there, really making sure you've got what you've got, not an actual noise that's not made from that creature. I know it's hard to say what any noise, where it comes from, but a motorbike noise is a pretty distinct noise where you can't really mix it up with a car. They're two different sounds. So even people,
but I mean,
you're right, keep going.
I'm just saying. No, you keep going.
No, I was just going to say, and people have even I've been sent recordings of cockatoos, like the big black cockies, because they're the ones that really screech loud. And not saying, I'll go down to Blue Mountains and there's like 100 corellas flying around and they're noisy as, but they'll, travel through the bush and it sounds different. But then I'm like, no, that's cockatoos, because I've heard those noises so many times. One of the people here said, the difference between the koala screams and yowies is the volume difference. Koala they don't have the near decibels of a yowie. Well, I understand that, but when you've got someone that doesn't live in the bush or doesn't frequently go out at night or, go off trail and hike in the bush, and they're pretty much, going out and they're scared when they're going out, and then they hear a scream, they just say yowie. They don't even think, a koala could make that noise. So that's what I was talking about. But, there's a lot of animals out there that, make much like noises that normal people, you could, I'm telling you now, you could get these noises and go into somewhere like Sydney and just go, all right, have headphones and have a little computer set up and say to people, you get 100 people and you go, what's this animal? And so you have a koala screaming, and you'd probably have a handful of people that would say that's a koala. A lot of them would say, oh, that's a, some sort of werewolf, or you'll get all these weird different answers that are, not animals that come from Australia, or they'd be saying animals that, it's not coming from that animal. So that's the problem, is there's that many people that are, all right, into yowies, I get that, but there's not a lot of people going out into the bush and doing it regularly that know these noises and don't say the first thing that they hear that makes some weird noise, that's a yowie. So that's the thing that's really, really, really wrong in this, what I call the yowie world, because you just can't say it's a yowie every time. It's just that many animals out there. Even the noises at night time. When I first started going out, even a little bush rat hopping around on leaves in the vicinity of my campsite, I thought it was something walking around because it was just, when it hopped, it just was like, sounded like bipedal walking, and I'm like, what the hell? What's walking around my campsite? So I've, got the torch out and had a peek and just seen this rat, and I'm like, well, it wasn't really a rat. It was I think it was like a bush mouse or something. Well, it could have been a rat, bush rat. It wasn't huge like a big rat, but it was only like probably 5 inches. But the way it was like hopping around, could have been a kangaroo. What do you call them? Kangaroo mice or something, And the way it was hopping around, it sounded like someone walking. So, it's really hard to tell some people sometimes. They just don't come to the conclusion that, oh, it's a yowie. So that's the bad thing that's happening.
It comes down to, Dan, it's your motives. I often wonder about people's motives. I mean, if you present anything on the internet, whether it be on Twitter or Facebook, or you present anything, you're basically asking for people's opinion. So you've got to be prepared to take the positive with the negative, not have it affect you to the point of abusing people because they have a different view to you.
Exactly.
So, that's where it comes down to motive. It makes me wonder whether they're not putting this information up to get feedback and to formulate their own opinion. They're putting it up to somehow present themselves as having more knowledge or something, or wrong. That's a yowie.
Yeah. I know what you mean, but like you said, I've lost you there a bit, Dave. You there? You there? Hello? You there?
Hello, you're frozen, mate.
Yeah. We just had a bit of a internet problem. That's good. Keep going, Dave, because it kind of the last 10 seconds it's been stopping.
Oh yeah. No, I just think it boils down to people's motives. If you're out there for the accolades and the hits and the views and all that sort of thing, it just makes me wonder what your motives. He said to me once, he said, he's seen people get into this thing and they've got all the good intentions in the world, and then suddenly they sort of go to the dark side where they have to fabricate something or, have it in that grey area.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of the same way as people going out and just taking 1,000 photographs, coming home and spending the weekend going through them and finding yowies.
Well,
it's
I don't know how many times I've been out and people will say, oh, did you hear that wood knock? Like if I hear something, I'll go, look, I heard something, I'm not sure what it is, but oh yeah, it sounded like a wood knock. Or I'll just say blunt, say, no, I didn't hear it. Or did you hear that noise yet? No, I didn't hear it. And if I hear a noise, I'm like, all right, there's something weird happening out there. This take time. We'll spend 5-10 minutes, we'll be quiet. If it makes a noise again, we'll try. Like you said before, one thing about social media is people want to look good in front of other people. People want to get like a weird sound to post it. They want to get a howl. They want to get a picture. And it's like your mate Slapper said, I got the money shot. And he's filming some burnt tree in the bush, which is, it doesn't worry about me if I get them or not. I'm happy going out. I'd like to see another one close up. I've actually had like 3 encounters and I've only seen 2 of them, which was the small Junjity, and that took me a while before I actually like recognized it was something looking at me, because it was in the bush and it was just looking around the tree, and I could only see half its face kind of thing, and it was really small, and it was foggy and raining and all that kind of stuff. And then the other one was one of the big boys, but he wasn't that tall. He was probably just about 6 foot like I am, but he was really wide, like the one that Patterson Gimlin, he was like really solid. The bastard was wider than what he was tall, and that's the one that actually growled at me. And I'm saying to Adam, it's coming up the ridge. He's seeing growled at me, and he's like, what? And then he goes, oh shit, I can hear it. But then he's saying to me, I can't see it, but I can hear it. And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, I can hear it running off, but I can't see the bloody thing. It's like Predator. It's like visible or something. I'm going, I don't know, man, but something growled at me and ran up the ridge. So then he's gone, I'm looking up the ridge, and he's gone, whatever it was went to the right, and then he followed it. So it's got, I've got bipedal running and bipedal running chasing it. So I've gone up, and they've gone that way, and then it's done a D shape and come back around, and I'm looking to my left, and I'm just kind of like, saying to I'm a little walkie-talkie to Adam, a little unit, and I'm going, Adam, he's going, quiet, I'm near someone's campsite, but it's disappeared. I'm going, it's over here, and I seen it walk, and it was going as fast as one of those Olympic, walkers, where you see people running next to them to keep up with them, and it was just doing strides, and I could see it between every second, like big gum tree, and it did I've seen it for about 5 strides. It was probably about 10 metres in those 5 strides. Went into the bush. I'm going, Adam, come here. So we've chased it down into the bush, but we couldn't get down there because it was all those vines and that. But you could hear it still crashing through the bush. And I'm like, let's check for hares. So we're looking for like 40 minutes to try and find hares. Couldn't find one. And I thought, we've got to get something here. So anyway, I've seen that. And then even there's other weird things that are happening in the bush that I've talked about on a couple of podcasts, and like that min light thing we saw, and some other little black, I don't know what it was, some looked like a little ghost or something, but it was all black, and some other things that have happened. But I'm not the only one that saw them. It's been at least 2 to 4 people there seeing these things. So there's a lot of weird things happening out in the bush that I can say probably, I'd say maybe a good 65 to maybe 85% of the times I've been out there, it's anything other than that last little probably 15%, which I thought can possibly be a yowie. Everything else, I can't explain it, or it's something else that's out in the bush. There's some other weird things going on, because you get out there and it's just some bloody things, weird things that happen that you thought, all right, other people have seen like a min light. I'm thinking, oh, that'd be good to see one day. And then I happened to see one, and it's just blew my mind. Like, if a yowie went across the road, I could probably go and chase him in 5-10 minutes and get him on footage. Yeah, it's just weird, man. Like, even when we were filming for track, we're in the Belangolo, and something breathed over my shoulder. It just went, like, it's pitch black. You can't see your hand in front of your face. I'm telling you, how people say it's black, you can't see your hand, but you really can. Man, I could not see my hand like this, and I'm like, this is the darkest place I've ever been to, and something breathed over my shoulder, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to get murdered by a lat. Because the boys are like 100 metres up there, and I got the thermal, and I'm standing in the complete darkness on this road, pointed into the bush to see if anything comes to check them out while they're in there, and I'm looking around and something breathes over my shoulder, and I'm like, what the hell? Oh. So, yes, there's a lot of weird things out there that make noises or, move around. So, before people start jumping the gun and saying this is a yowie, get the bit more experience under your belt, or ask questions to people that have been going out, and we could probably get there and work out what it is. Or you could put it into a small percentage and go, we don't know what it is, and it could be what we're looking for, a yowie.
I learnt my lesson with that fox. Gary Arthur has been very kind to me. I think he was having a bit of a laugh. There's this silly bugger telling me that he's got a yowie on recording, and it's just a humble fox. But, yeah.
But at least you took that on board. So, I've been there, and I've been in yowie groups, and I've said to someone, hey, I know what that animal is. I've got a recording of that animal, and it's even on, you can go to this site and look it up. It's exactly the same recording you got. No, it's not. This is a yowie. And I'm like, oh my God, like, you're an idiot, Yeah. And when these people start
used
talking...
to see that a lot. Yeah, you used to see that a lot in all the American groups. I got out of them all. But
I never got in them.
just
Yeah, it's
no, but I think it was.
it's bad enough
boils
in our
down to
groups,
money.
mate. It's bad enough in our groups. And like I said, people want to have something to show. They want to go, hey, look what I got. No one else has got it. Well, look at the hows that we got at Marramara. And one of the listeners on here was talking about how, loud an animal like a yowie size. You're looking at an 8 foot tall creature that's like Andre the Giant, and it's got a massive chest like this. And I recorded it in the Marramara National Park, and it couldn't have been a dog. I've heard so many wild dogs, and then dogs in the neighbourhood here, and then you got wild dogs in the bush. When the lungs start getting, the air oxygen's coming out of their lungs when they're howling, it starts wavering at the end. Well, this thing, mate, it was just punching out that sound so loud that it couldn't be anything else other than some creature with a massive chest. And a dog doesn't have a chest that size, and we don't have bears and everything like that. And it wasn't a person; it was way in the bush where people can't get to. Like, you could get there, but why would someone be in that area? But then they come across the creek, and the creek was freezing, and there was 4 of us, actually 5 of us that witnessed all this, and so look, I've said it's a yowie howl, I know, but I'm looking at there's a howl called the Ohio howls, I think from like 1984. My sound recording sounds exactly the same as that one. Exactly the same. The same thing. If you look at it, if you listen to it, and then listen to the Marramara howls, you'd be going, mate, they're 99% the same. And how can we haven't got the animals that they got, and they don't have the animals that we got, but we both got hairy man creature running around the bush. They could be from the same tree, and one of them just happened to come down and make it to Australia, however long ago, but still has that same sound. So,
that opens up a whole new can of worms, mate.
Mate, that's what everything Yowie's about. That's what we're about, Dave. We're here to open up the can of worms.
Yeah, you get into the Wallace line and all that sort of thing.
I delve into the Wallace line and all that kind of stuff, and it's all got to do with like the ice age, and when the water finally went down, well, nothing could cross over, and the birds that were on these islands were either too small or too big or just not suited to long distance travel. Like some of these birds that come from like Russia, and they come into Australia to breed, and then they go back to Russia. These little birds. So I don't know. It's anyway. Before we end tonight, I don't know if I did it last time. I didn't announce the Golden Thong Award winner for being such an idiot in the Yowie World. Anyway, there was votes. There was a poll taken in my Yowie Facebook Yowie group called the Yowie Forum. There's no rules in there, so don't worry about if you want to join. There's no rules. No one's gonna tell you off or anything. But if you're posting shit, you're gonna get let known that you're posting shit. So everyone's gonna have an opinion, and if you can't take it, don't be in the group. That's all I say. But the Golden Thong Award winner was Stets. He won it by probably about 4 votes to the Chaser, and the Chaser was going for 3 years in a row. So. But the Chaser's been a bit quiet lately. He's not posting 1850 Trove reports as the latest sighting, so hopefully that's stopped, and he can actually try and post real reports. So anyway, Dave, thanks for coming on tonight and showing us you're the third member of the group, a dog named Slapper. That's his name, Slapper.
No, it's not. His name's Merlin.
Merlin,
he's a Merle colour.
Okay.
He's a Merle colour, so we called him Merlin.
Yeah. Okay. So how big you reckon he's going to get? You going to be able to ride him like a horse and in through the bush?
He'll be pretty big. But they're a nice, calm breed, and combined with being a bit smart, because German Shepherds are pretty smart. So, but he's thrown more to the Great Dane than he has to the mother.
Okay.
So
Yeah, he does look like he's a bit leggy. So only time will tell how big he gets. He can become your Yowie researching pal and, keep you company while you're out there.
oh, he's not allowed into national parks, so unfortunately.
Well,
But,
you got 4 pairs of thongs for him because he's got 4 feet, so you need to get 4 thongs.
oh, I've got to get 4 little pairs of thongs. Oh yeah,
Mm.
oh yeah, for sure. I goes that. So you can't come into my house without wearing thongs. Look,
Well, I'm more than welcome.
I have complimentary thongs at the door for everybody who's too poor to own a pair of thongs.
That's it. I'm coming down. That's it. Not even going to work tomorrow. I'm coming down to get me complimentary thongs like I got in the Philippines. I've still got them here. They've turned into backyard thongs. What can't thongs do? Thongs can do everything. Thongs can do anything.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway,
one day thongs will rule the world, mate.
they already do. People just unaware. So, So anyway, if you've never hiked in thongs, you've never lived. You've got to go out and hike in thongs, and no bare feet. Don't do that. You've got to hear the slap, 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 slap as you're walking along. It's nothing better.
Fair enough. Well, we might leave it at that.
Yeah, we will do. We will do. We're starting to dribble. Anyway, thanks for everyone for coming on. You can see how professional we are. We're getting better every week, and it took me a while to get this set up today. It's been a couple of weeks, and I forgot how to get it on live stream. I'm that hopeless. But all right, Dave, thanks for coming, and we'll probably do this live stream in maybe a couple of weeks. We're not going to do it every week. We'll keep this as a hobby and keep it, all fun for us, not getting too serious. And if you want any, ask us any questions when we put the next live link up. Please keep it in your calendar and ask us some questions. We'll try to answer as many as we can. A couple of guys did talk about. Coco says my granddad was adamant Min lights existed. Well, this one did. I seen it. Thanks, Shane, for coming on and watching us. A couple of guys talking about Yowies, and hope you've all enjoyed it. So I'm going to watch the rest of the footage.